Hi everyone, Tim Brown. Welcome back to my Apple Podcast, the podcast that makes a personal connection to everything Apple. For this episode, I want to feature something very special for iOS. It's called TouchCast. It's an application that enables you to broadcast yourself using a wide range of interactive widgets. Let me just walk you through all the features. So you're looking at the main interface for when you're about to set up a new TouchCast. But before I set up one, let me just walk you through the interface here. So you also have My Projects. This is where you access all the projects that you set up. You can access your own TouchCast, that is the ones that you've already published. You can also go to the TouchCast side of things to view other episodes that you can follow on the different feeds and the bookmarks and so forth. But what I want to do for this episode is show you how you record and set up your own TouchCast. So we're going to go back to the cast side of things, and I'm going to go to New TouchCast, and now I'm going to go ahead and just walk you through all the features. Now, the one thing you have to keep in mind about TouchCast is this is like a network studio all in one. You're recording yourself, you're a broadcast news announcer, and you're providing reviews or just covering various different news stories. So basically whatever you want, whatever story you want to tell, basically. But what's really unique is how interactive this whole thing is. So let's look at the templates here. So what you're looking at right now is an image of myself. So actually this app is designed so that you can use the internal camera that's built into the iPad to record yourself. And you can start from scratch, or you can use various different templates that come available, like website, video, images, maps, a file. These are all things that you can annotate, pictures. You can have a make-believe news studio or a talk show host, Lincoln Memorial, newscast, business cast. These are basically all different styles that you can set up when you're about ready to set up your broadcast. You know, what's really nice too is that these titles and all these other little interactive elements that are referred to as VAPs can be added on a customized basis. So you can actually start from scratch and add all these things later, which is actually what I'm going to do right now. So let's go ahead and just start from scratch, and we'll take you into a whole new different interface here. Okay, we're inside the TouchCast interface, and let me just walk you through all the features. I'll explain the green screen later. So we'll go to camera first, and when you select camera, you see there's a whole menu along the bottom. So you can control the speed of your recording. One, you can choose to have a teleprompter. That is, you can have a text that you read while you're recording yourself if you want to be a little bit more planned in how you do this. Just select teleprompt again to get rid of it. Likewise, with all the other options along the bottom, you can select them or deselect them whenever you want to turn them on and off. So if I want to turn off the microphone, I would just deselect that. If I want to turn off the camera, I would deselect that, and so forth. The next feature is multi-camera, and that's a feature that I want to show you right now because I have my iPhone set up on another tripod. So you can actually record yourself from two cameras, possibly 3 or 4 cameras if you wanted to do that. That's what I mean about TouchCast being this professional studio, all in one, built in with tons of features. Yes, you can record yourself from multiple angles. So right now, you're seeing 2 views of myself. The first one is from the iPad. So where it says output, that's where I'm currently recording. If I wanted to record myself from the iPhone, I would tap on that one. It takes it to the preview version, but if I double tap, it then takes it to the output version. That means that I'm now recording from my iPhone. And you can also choose multiple sources for microphones. For example, if I was plugged into my iPad with one microphone and I wanted to prevent having the audio switch to the iPhone when I switch to that camera, I could choose to turn the iPhone audio off and just leave the iPad audio on. But there are different scenarios for different recording sessions depending on how you want to do it, but that's how I would do it if I was using both devices. But you just double tap to switch back and forth whenever you want to change camera views. It's really that simple. Great feature for TouchCast. You can also add the color temperature if you wanted to do that. I rarely use this feature, but something to consider. You can also choose to lock or unlock. You can choose a mirroring feature if you wanted to flip views of yourself. And you can also swap cameras. So you can actually swap back and forth between the front-facing camera and rear-facing camera. So yeah, that's the camera feature. Okay, let's move on to the Effects tab. When you go to Effects, you'll see you have a range of options for changing how you appear on screen. Number one, you can choose various different filters. if you want to change the way you look. I don't really want to do that. I want to keep the filter off, but it's a nice option to have. You can also add guides, and guides are helpful too when you start adding these interactive widgets to your project. I'm just going to leave the guides there. And of course, I had a green screen behind me, and I'm going to take advantage of that. So I'm going to select green screen as an option, and immediately it wipes out the green screen and puts it into a default background. But you can choose any background that you want. For example, I can click on the Photos tab on the right here and bring in any background that I want. And as you can see, that looks great right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with that. But you can also edit the background based on whatever color you want. So you can use the color picker to actually pull out the background as well, but I don't really need that, so I'm going to just stick with the one I have. And then you can use settings to modify your green screen effect in case you want to fine tune the edges and so forth. It also comes with sound effects, which are really cool. The ones I really like are laughter. So you can include laughter, or you can include, I don't know, just about anything you want. Happy moods, sad moods, and so forth. I rarely use sound effects, but I really like the fact that this is part of TouchCast, among all the other features that come with it. Next, let's move on to the whiteboard. Okay, so we're now at the whiteboard, and this is pretty cool because this is where you can go in and annotate your content. So let's start with where it says glass. I'm going to press on that, and you'll see you have a menu of options. You can change the different type of board that you want. Right now, glass is selected by default because that's what's going to give me the transparency that I want. In other words, you can still see me in the background if I leave glass selected. If I choose chalkboard instead, then all of a sudden I disappear. Likewise, if I choose white and or the grid pattern, you see that I have disappeared. And I can draw on top of these and then return myself later by choosing glass. So it depends on what you want to do and what kind of transitions you want to build into this whole annotation feature. But with the glass option selected, when I'm going over to pen, and you see that I have a pen option where I can draw with a pen, or I can actually type in text, I can add arrows, I can add boxes, and I can also erase my content. So if I just stick with the pen option here for a moment, I'm going to go over and then choose a color. I think I like orange, so I'm going to keep that, but you can see you have a range of colors to choose from, as well as you can vary the line thickness too. So let's go ahead and just stick with what I have here, because what I can do is I can go in and just draw right on screen here. I mean, that's amazing. And you can be recording the whole time that you're doing this. So if you want to draw diagrams or write words or what have you for emphasis, this is how you will do it. You can of course go in and then use the eraser to erase, or just simply just stop the recording and go on to the next scene and so forth. So this is a really nice feature to have. Again, TouchCast is amazing. A lot of features built in here. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to titles. And let's go ahead and add a new title. Now what you notice right away is all those templates you saw at the beginning. Now you can go through and add these titles manually to your projects. I'm going to go ahead and add this one. And you can see by default it's set up to play for 10 seconds. So if you were to do a recording, it would only show for 10 seconds and then it will disappear. Actually, if I go up to the menus, you can see I have the option to have it stay on, or I can lower it. I can say 5 seconds. So let's try that. And I'm going to show you how this would actually work. So if I press record, I'm recording myself now, and this banner will disappear in 5 seconds. And then you can continue recording, or you can just choose to stop. It's a nice option to have. You'll notice too that there's a thumbnail on the bottom left. That's a VAP. It now becomes a VAP. I'll explain that more in a bit. If you don't want to use that anymore, you can just press and hold and then just drag it to the trash can and it'll get rid of it. Okay, now let's talk about VAPs. VAPs is my favorite part of TouchCast. So if I select add a VAP, you'll see that there are a ton of options to choose from. And what exactly are these things? Well, they're interactive widgets. So for example, if I choose a web page as an option, you'll see I already set some web pages up before. Oftentimes we'll use my Apple Podcast as part of my TouchCast. And if I select use, you'll see that it comes into my screen as a VAP, or an interactive application, in this case a web page. So people who are viewing this video can actually also view the web page at the same time. They'll be able to tap on it, bring it full screen. They'll be able to scroll through it, navigate through the website while I'm talking. You'll see that it shows up as a VAP along the bottom in the same way that that title did. So if I deselected it, it would go away. And if I select it again, it will come back. If you have multiple VAPs along the bottom, you can then choose the controls along the bottom to go to next app if you want to navigate through. Or there's even an app where you control all of these things remotely. Pretty cool. So again, if I was to use a VAP, I would hit record, and it will record myself with this VAP on screen at the same time. Once this project was finished and it went online, people could actually tap on this website, bring it up full screen, and then minimize me along the bottom, and then vice versa. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's explore another VAP. As you can see, there are a lot of options to choose from, but to make it interesting, let's go to Document Picker. So I'm going to choose Document Picker, and I'm going to import a document. And here you're going to have options to choose what drive you want to use. I'm going to go to iCloud Drive, and I'm going to go down to Preview because I know I have some PDFs in here. And I'm going to find a PDF that I can import into my project here. I'm going to go ahead and just choose this sort of visual history of iOS. I think that was the name of the article. And basically what you're looking at here is a document that if it was a live recording, it was a VAP, people could actually swipe through all the pages in this document as they were listening to the recording. So for example, they would be able to navigate through the entire article just like this. But instead it would be launched full screen while you are minimized, and then it switches back and forth. That's what I mean about the interactivity that comes with TouchCast, especially when you're integrating these VAPs. It's really quite remarkable, and there's so many things you can do. Like I said, you can use video, you can incorporate images from Instagram. I mean, anything you want to use, any VAP you want to use, you can add another dimension of interactivity to your recording. And when you're done, you just click Done in the top right corner, and you'll see here a timeline of all of your recordings. And you can then go through and then modify your project. So here you can go in and add a transition between recordings. You can also select individual recordings and you can add VAPs to them, or you can choose to trim them in case you want to fine tune your recording, in case there's some gaps in between. And of course, that always happens. So this is sort of like the post-production side of things. And this enables you to just fine tune everything. And then when you're done, you just click Export TouchCast, give it a title, share it to all your social media sites, and you're good to go. So that's TouchCast for iOS. This is Tim Brown, My Apple Podcast. You can find me at myapplepodcast.com, and you can find me on YouTube and Twitter. See you next time.